Hi viewers and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is HP Fashions GY, and in today's tutorial we'll be learning on how to cut and sew a perfect overburst corset. So if this is your first time of turning into my YouTube channel, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. So alright, so this is my fabric. I have 2 yards of this fabric. Alright, so I've placed it, I folded it into two, and I'll go ahead and get my measurement. I'm using the measurement of 23 and a half. 23 and a half. The mean measurement is 22, then seam allowance of about 1.5 inches. Okay, so this is 23 and a half. Okay, so I'm getting my full length first. So after that, I'll go ahead and confirm the length of my overbust, the length of the overbust corset. All right, so I'll just go ahead and confirm it if it's exactly what I want. Then if that is done, I'll go ahead and mark my half length, which is 16. Half length of 16. I'll go ahead and mark it. Then I will rule this all the way to the other side of my fabric. Okay, so I will ensure that everything is actually perfect. All right, so this is my 16. I want it to be I want the lines to actually align with each other. I wouldn't want it to shift. Okay, so after that, now I'll go ahead and mark my underbust, the underbust. All right, so my underbust here, I'll be using 14 inches. 14 inches for this. Well, my actual length for the underbust is 14 and a half, so I decided to make it 14. Okay, for proper lifting. Right, so I had to minus that half inch to make it 14. So right, so once I'm done with the underbust, I'll take my bust point measurement of 10 inches. All right, so I'll be making do of 2 lines, but first of all I'll draft out one first. Bust point of 10 inches. Okay, so I'll have to roll to the other side of this to make it straight. All right, okay, so I'll just make it straight. All right, so if I'm done, I will actually mark my underbust again. I really want to come up with another half inch again, which is about 13.5 inches. I want it to give it a proper lifting. Okay, so I'll be using 13.5 and 14 inches for my under bust. All right, but it will reflect more on the 13 inches more than the 14. It's just a half inch difference. Okay, so once that is done, I'll go ahead and mark my shoulder measurement. Shoulder of 16 plus half inch, which is 17 inches. So then I'll take my armhole depth of 8 inches. My armhole depth of 8 inches. Alright, so this one now is my bust point, this is my under bust, and this is my half length. Right, so I'm actually using a chalk to like label. Alright, so this particular one now is my armhole depth. I'm actually using armhole depth of 8 inches. So I'll go ahead and connect the lines because I want it to be straight. Okay, so I'll indicate it as well, armhole. All right, so if that is done, I'll go ahead and connect my shoulder to my bust point. But first of all, I'll mark my bust measurement, the circumference of my bust, and divide into 4. All right, then I'll insert it right there. Okay, and my bust circumference is 39 inches. Okay, so this is my bust measurement. So I'll go ahead and divide the waist measurement into 4 as well, then insert it on the half length line. Okay, so the waist measurement is 31, so I'll be adding extra allowance to the bust and the waist measurement. It all depends on how many inches you would like to add. You can choose to add up 3 inches. All right, so I've joined. I'm about to connect my armhole to my bust measurement. So I actually went up with about 2 inches from my armhole line upward. Okay, so I'll go ahead now to connect my bust to my half length. All right, then from that half length I'll
connect to my full length. Okay, so after this I'll still go ahead and add up some more allowance at behind the allowance I added. Okay, so I had to spread open up with about 11.5 inches on the down part of this overbust. Okay, so once this is done, I'll take a measurement of about 2 inches or 2.5 inches from the down part upward. All right, so it will be leaving me with about 20 inches. All right, for this, then I'll connect to the other side like a basque waistline. It will be giving me a basque waistline afterwards. All right, so I actually made a mistake in my measurements. The length of my measurements is actually 22.5, not 23.5. Okay, so both seam allowance, everything sum up together is 22.5. So this is what I have left. So I'll be taking my middle measurement of 4 inches, the middle measurement of 4 inches. All right, this is actually my bust point, like nipple to nipple measurement. All right, so this is it. I'm using a wideness of 4 inches. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and connect this line to give me a straight line, not a broken line. Okay, so if this is on, this is actually the middle line. So from this middle line now, I will mark my measurement for the side. I'll be using 3.5 inches from this middle line, 3.5 inches all the way down. Okay, the overbust is actually the one I'm making is actually a 3-line demarcation. All right, it has 3 lines. The demarcation is actually a 3 lines demarcation. All right, so it all depends on your bust measurement. So from this middle line now, I'll be making a minus of 1 inch on both side. All right, up and down. So for the downside, I'm making a distance of 1 inch on the left and the right, 1 inch left and right, 1 inch. All right, so I'll continue this. Once I get to the under bust, then I will just stop right there. Okay, so from this upper part now, I'll be marking a length of about 6 inches. All right, from this side, then I will just rule, because I want the 1 inch minus to balance up. Okay, so assuming I'm taking a neckline, then I should be able to work with 7 inches or 7.5 inches. All right, so I'm making my connection now. From those 1 inches I minused to my bust point, then I will stop right there on the upper part. Then I'll move straight up to the down part and make this connection. All right, so I'll have to connect my down under bust, the under bust, to the bust point, then on the left and the right, the under bust to the bust point. All right, so I have to make my connections to be well pronounced. So if I'm very certain about this, then I will move to the next level, the next step. All right, so this is this for this. All right, so from the shoulder side now, I'll be marking the neck depth of 7 inches, how deep I want it. Then on the other side of the shoulder, I'll be coming up by 4 inches, but meanwhile I'll have to still raise this minus the middle line upward. Okay, I'll have to raise it upward. All right, so, and also mark where I would like my measurements to stop for the on the shoulder side. So this is actually my 4.5 inches for this. All right, so I've actually drawn the line. So I'm actually connecting my neckline to the 4.5 inches provided. So the reason for that 4.5 inches, that due to the stylish neckline, the sides are actually higher than the middle. All right, so it's because of the sides. That's why we provided the 4.5. All right, so this is actually for my back, and my back, the back of the corset. Right, so I'm taking a full length of 22 and half. 22 and half. The length is 22 and half, but obviously I won't be using the 22 and half. Okay, so remember the side of the front is actually 20. All right, so I'll be using 20 this time around. Right, the sides are 20, while the middle is 22 and half. All right, so it have a bust waistline for the front. So for the back, I'll be using just 20. All right, so at this point now, I'll take my measurement. I'll take a measurement for my shoulder. I'll be taking my shoulder measurement of 8.5. All right, so my armhole depth is the same, 8 inches. My half length is 16 inches. All right, so I'll make a connection of this right away, then make a connection for my half length as well. So I'll connect my armhole line, then come up by 2 inches and make my connection. All right, so at this point now I'll be taking my bust measurement on this, then my waist measurement on the half length, waist measurement of 31. All right, so I'll make a connection on this first, then I'll spread. Then behind it I'll be adding allowance of about 1 inch for this, then I will connect. All right, so once this is done, all right, so I'll go ahead and mark for the middle line, for the back side, for the eyelet hole. I'm making a minus of about 2.5 inches. I'm making a wideness of a minus of about 2.5 inches. So if that is done, I'll connect it. All right, so this minus is actually going out. I'll cut it out. All right, so at this point now I'll go ahead and cut this shaded side out. It won't be part of the dress. Okay, so I'll go ahead and trim this all out. All right, so this is actually for the back of the dress. Then I'll also trim out this back side, the one with 2.5 inches wide. All right, so it's actually going out. Okay, so I'll be getting two of this, then I'll indicate this side as up. All right, so we won't make any mistake. So I'll go ahead and get two of this that will serve as a lining to the dress. So after getting this, I'll go ahead and get my hairstay for all the dresses. All right, this is the hairstay. So I've gotten it for all the dresses. So I'll go ahead and place and start joining. Okay, so this is it. So this is actually the middle. I'll have to join the side to the middle. All right, I'll have to place it exactly the way the shape is. All right, so I will start my sewing from the downside of this overburst corset. I'll start the joining from the downside. Reason is because if there's any excess, it should be able to pop out from the upper part, which is far more better. All right, so I'll just take exactly the shape of this. All right, so the unique neckline is when we are done joining and all, they will give our neckline the perfect shape we want it. All right, but for now, this is what we have. This is actually for one side of the corset, so go ahead and place for the other side. All right, the reason for this hairstay, for me, I like it because it makes my a light fabric. It thickens a light fabric. Okay, so I'll go ahead and take exactly the shape of this. All right, so like I said, this overbust, it has three joining demarcations. All right, so far we've done for two, the middle and both sides. All right, so this is it. this is now I'm attaching the side to the armhole side to the end other side the the overpost. All right, so I'll go ahead and join this, ensure that everything is perfect. All right, so you can actually choose to iron this hair stay to your dress. Use an ironing pressing iron to secure it before you go ahead to join. All right, but if you know you can handle it this way, then you're good. All right, so this is it. I've joined for this one, so go ahead and join for the other side of it. All right, so we'll go ahead and join for this side. Go ahead and join for this side. Actually, I'm using about half an inch to do this joining. I'm not taking too much of it because of the allowance I added. All right, so if you know you'll be taking too much, then you should be able to add up more seam allowance to this. Okay, so this is it. This is the joining of our overbust. All right, so this is how I joined my overbust. So once this is done and this is over, right, so this is what we have. So I'll go ahead and give it a very nice press. Right, so I've ironed it. I've ironed every bit of the front. This is actually the front. All right, so at this point now, this is the back of it. I'll go ahead and attach it to the dress, then I will pin it all up for shaping. Okay, so I've pinned the both side for shaping and I've shaped it. Right, so after shaping, we'll go ahead and introduce our bone. I'll be using a bias for this one to do the boning technique. All right, so I'll be using a bias for this. All right, so I actually indicated the middle for my dress, then I placed the bias right on top of it, and I'm sewing right at the tip. I will sew right at the tip for both sides of the bias. Then at the end we'll have a very nice neat finished look. Okay, so this is it. Alright, so this bias I'm actually adding up is for the boning. Okay, I'll actually pass a bone right under it. Okay, so this is it. Alright, so I'll go ahead and place the bias right on the bust curve, not on top, just at the side. Alright, then make sure I arrange it perfectly because I wouldn't want it to like flatten the curve. Alright, so it has to take exactly the shape for this. Alright, so I'll go ahead and sew right at the tip. Okay, so after sewing this, I repeat the same procedure for on all the overbust corsets. Okay, so this is it. I'm actually not sewing on top of the joint line. I'm actually sewing beside it, right at the tip. Okay, so this is how it looks like. I'll go ahead and sew the other side of this as well. So I ensure I do it perfectly clean because neat, because I actually like a neat work. All right, so now after this is done, all right, so this is what we have. All right, this is how it looks like. This is how the joining looks like, looking very neat. Okay, so this is actually my lining, what I'll be using as my lining. I'm actually attaching a breast foam to my lining because I want the inner to be thick. I wouldn't want to do caging. All right, I won't be doing caging on this. All right, so that's why I'm attaching my breast foam to the inner lining for this. Okay, so if that is done, I'll go ahead and trim all out. I'll go ahead and trim all out. Meanwhile, I've already joined my inner lining exactly the way I joined. So at this point now, I'll go ahead and trim exactly the shape of the neck how I want it. All right. So all the joining will meet at the edge of it. So this is how it looks like. This is how the trimming looks like. All right. So this is how the neckline looks like. All right, so for the inner lining, I have not trimmed it yet. I'll just cover it this way, then place the middle to the middle points, the middle to middle facing each other. Then this sharp edge will be at the other side. I'll use my pin to secure, then this sharp edge too at this point. Then I'll use my pin to secure. I'll go ahead and follow the main neckline and trace it. After sewing, then I'll go ahead and trim out the excess lining to this. All right, so the shaping sides facing each other, shaping sides. So and my sewing will actually start from the upper part, from the back side. So this is it. All right, so meanwhile, remember I said I've shaped the dress already. So this overbust, I shaped it with about 1.5 inches on both sides. Yeah, so it all depends on how many inches allowance you added and how much you did your joining. So this is what we have after joining. I'll go ahead and notch the middle and the side because I've trimmed out all the excess. All right, so I'll go ahead and turn it all up at this moment. I've turned it up, then I've also passed my bone under the lines. Okay, all right, so this is what we have. This is how it looks like. So at this point now, we're not stopping right there. I'll go ahead and top stitch the down, putting the linings together, then I'll top stitch the down right there. Okay, so after top stitching the down, that 2.5 inches with my nose, so we've gotten it again. So I'll close up this upper part, then place it on the side, on the wrong side of the corset, then turn it all up at the right side of the overbust corset, then top stitch on top. Then I'll run a thread again for my eyelet. Then I'll use a plain long material to turn the downside all up. Okay, so this is what it looks like. This is for the back. We'll go ahead and make an eyelet hole for this. So if you find this video very helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Okay, don't forget to turn up your notification button for more notifications. All right, whenever we drop videos. So at this point now, I'll go ahead and introduce my beads to this because I want it with beads at on top of the lines. Okay, so this is how it looks like. This is what it looks like. All right, so remember I did not add caging to this overbust. All right, so thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Don't forget to share my videos as well. Bye. See you in my next video. Bye.